Hey, it's Aleeza Ben Shalom from Jewish Matchmaking on Netflix. I'm known as the Jewish Matchmaker. I've got so much wisdom for you. I'm here with Kim Sorrelle, and we have an amazing episode. You're totally going to want to check this out. So tune in, listen, watch wherever you are, and then find me and ask all the questions that you have. I'm here for you.
Welcome to the show. I'm so happy you're here. You are going to be so happy you are here. I'm Kim Sorrelle. I write, I speak. I get to do a lot of fun things in life, but my favorite thing to do is meet people. And I get to meet some incredible people. And today I have Aleeza on my show, and she is fabulous. I first met her through her show on Netflix, The Jewish Matchmaker. She's amazing. The show is so much fun to watch, and she does such an incredible job. Hopefully, I got the name of the show right. You got to go see it. It's so good. And then I got to meet her in person at a conference a bit ago. So I've been so excited to have her on the show. You're gonna love her because I love her. So I know you will too. Aleeza, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Kim.
Yeah, thanks so much for being here. So, I do. I love your show. I love watching it and seeing the couples and see if they work out or what happens, and all the stuff that goes on in your show is so fun. And you've got a book, and your book is so great. You've done so much. You're just incredible. And so I want people to really get to know you. So, I'd love for you to start out with telling us about 8-year-old Aleeza.
That's so fun, taking me back to eight. So, 8-year-old Aleeza, a lot of energy. I was told in class, like, if she would only stop talking to her neighbor, she would be so much more successful in class. And now I think it's talking to my neighbor that's exactly what helps me in matchmaking and bringing people together. I had a lot of energy and ambition. I remember even doing things in school, like trying out for, president of the whatever club, and mostly I didn't make it because I was always like I was younger and I looked younger and I wasn't like, the popular kid in school. And it didn't deter me from trying. It would be like, it's okay, even if it doesn't work out, you can still try because if this is important to you, then this is what you should do. And I remember, like making posters and banners and trying to get people on board to do good things and change the world. And as I grew up through high school, university, I was always, whatever group I was in, whatever chapter I was in, I was always the social chair, the president, the vice president. I was always doing something in a position of leadership and bringing people together. And it wasn't until my mid 20s that I actually leaned into and found matchmaking. I really actually had like no aspirations. Like growing up, it's like, what do you want to be when you grow up? I never had an answer for that. I was like, I want to get married and I want to have a family. And I had no better answer than that. And I even went to university and they're like, well, what do you want to be? And I would always come home with a different idea. Like, I think I want to be a sociologist, maybe an anthropologist. And my dad's like, do they earn money? And I was like, I don't know, but the job sounds cool. That's what I want to do. Like, I love people and I love the world around me and I want to get to know people. I really want to connect. And somehow I did find my husband, thank God, in my mid 20s, and then landed in matchmaking just as kind of like a community give back and an opportunity to connect while I was growing my family, and do something like as a volunteer project. And from that, from passion, from love, from all that energy that was like just talking in the classroom to now actually talking in the real world, it actually paid off. That's
Yeah.
that's a really I gave you so much more than 8 years old, but I feel like that energy translated as I got older. Like it didn't go away. Like sometimes like your energy levels off. And I'm 49 now and my energy has not leveled off. It keeps going and I feel very blessed that I am able to support, the community, the world with all of the gifts and the skills that I've been given.
Yeah, oh my gosh, I love it. I love that you went beyond because I love that your energy stayed the same. Because so often kids are their energy is kind of knocked out of them, right? Because of things that they're told or, sit still and don't daydream and don't whatever, and you're too much, or I don't know, just the things that people say sometimes. And so I love it that nobody took your energy away. I love that for you.
I think that that actually came from my parents. They're both entrepreneurs, each in a different way. Like my mom was really creative and always brainstorming and like a visionary and thinking about what to do. And my dad was like the realist. He's like, well, like, let's crunch the numbers. So like we would always at the dinner table, we like have a calculator out and we're like, okay, well, what if you wanted to do this? Well, if you, because he was in a business to create products and do things, how much would it cost? And then how much could you sell it for? And how much would you make? And we were always going through these different calculations. And at the same time, my mom with the creativity and the visionary and the dreamy side of it. And I kind of got the best of, I feel really blessed. I got the best of both worlds where I have that creativity, that energy, that visionary um, life and at the same time I have the practical side of it, which is okay, you can't just have a dream. How are you going to make it come true? And how are you going to take what you're doing from just being a passion to being something that you can do full time in the world? Because my biggest challenge, once I figured out that I loved matchmaking and I really wanted to lean into this and coaching and to support people, the biggest challenge was how do you actually earn a living from it? Because it's not something you go to school to get a degree for. It's not something they train you on, or it's not something I
Right.
was dreaming about being when I was growing up. And I didn't know how to actually build it into a business. And it was something that had to develop over time. But because of my energy, my effort, my creativity, and my willingness to try and fail, I would say that that also is something I think a lot of entrepreneurs or people that are passionate about doing something have to be willing to fail because you just don't know where the success is going to come. Like, oh, you tried it once, it didn't work. Okay, but you only tried it once. It's like dating. If you only tried dating one person once and it didn't work, you'd be like, yeah, I failed. I'm no good at that. No, no, no. I don't know how many people you have to go through, but you'll find your person. Let's keep going. It's rare that it actually works. It's normal that it fails. So, a friend of mine wrote a book. It's called Hurry Up and Fail. And it's like, yeah, you got to quickly fail because if you fail, you know that you're closer to reaching that success. At some point, it actually does work, and what you're doing has a real impact in the world. And so, you can hear, I love it. I'm actually very passionate, not only about matchmaking and all the work I do, but about business, about building somebody up, about people become like, I can see the intention behind who somebody is and what they want and help to draw that out and give them the courage to try and give them the opportunity to be able to fail and not let that tank their energy. You're like, "Yay, you failed. Great. Let's try again. What's the other direction that we should go now? Like we got to do 10 different, replays of this. Let's try another way and let's keep going."
Oh my gosh, I love that. I love everything you just said because it's so true. I've been an entrepreneur. I started my first business when I was 18. And so, yeah, you're going to have failures along the way, but that's when you do the most learning. And yes, you don't just marry the first person you date, typically. That's a pretty rare thing. So you do, like the saying says, you got to kiss a lot of frogs before you find your prince, right? And you have to go through people so you know what you want and what clicks with you and what works for you and all of that. But you were matchmaking way back in college, from what I understand, in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, which, by the way, I'm in Michigan, so it's like we were neighbors. Yeah, yeah.
I feel like I was always matchmaking. Definitely in university, I was setting up my friends. I was like, oh, I think he likes you. Oh, I think how do you know? Did they tell you? And I was like, I just know, like, come here, you guys need to meet. Come here. Oh, look, this is my friend. Oh, excuse me, I have to go to the bathroom. And I would kind of just disappear. I even remember doing it younger than that. The first memory I have was when I went to an overnight camp, and my brother, who's 2.5 years younger, I set him up to go to the dance with my girlfriend, Michelle. And I was trying to play matchmaker. I think I was maybe 12 and he was 10 and she was 12, older girl, she was 12, something like that. But I feel like I'm always like I'm like a bridge builder and a peacemaker and somebody that brings people together. And that was just very natural for me. I just didn't know where that skill set should go. Like when I took all of the like what should you be when you grow up and the pre-university test to kind of like help you find a major in a field, there was nothing that made sense to me. Like I couldn't figure it out. I designed my own major because I literally didn't know what I wanted to be when I grew up, and I had to pick something. So I just designed my own major, and I really like graduated without the ability to do anything in the world except to say that I've been to university for 4 years, and it just it developed. I guess it developed organically, and the first thing I had to do was to find my own family and build my own family, and it really wasn't until my mid 30s that things for me professionally started to take off. I think a lot of people modern day are doing it in the reverse. Like in their 20s, they are finding their career, figuring out what they're going to do, getting themselves settled, and then they find love. Or maybe they're searching for it all along. Sometimes it comes at the same time, but it used to be that we found love and then we fell into a job or we fell into a position of doing something that we wanted to do. So I kind of like did it the traditional way where I found my husband first and then was like, I don't know what I want to be when I grow up. I still don't know. A wife and a mommy. That's all I want to be, a wife and a mommy. And I didn't have a better answer than that. And now it's a wife, a mommy, and a matchmaker.
There you go. Yeah, that's so good. And somewhere, how, when is it that you moved to Israel?
5 years ago. So we moved
5 years ago.
fairly
Yeah.
recently. Yeah, and we have five children. Our oldest is 22 and our youngest is 12. And so we moved when they were like big kids. They're like, how come you didn't move when we were younger? And I was like, I tried. It didn't work. The timing didn't work. And, it has to be like divine right timing to get everything in alignment, to be there in the right time at the right place at the right time. And it ended up being only 5 years ago. So we're still fairly new immigrants, still getting the lay of the land and learning the language and all of the different customs that come along with being Israeli. It's wonderful because it's been my lifelong dream. So to have a second dream come true. First was get married and have a family, and second was to move to Israel. And those two things have been the biggest blessing in my life. And now, of course, my career and matchmaking and the show on Netflix. It's been amazing. Really, really
Yeah.
amazing.
Good for you. Good for you. Looking back, you can see the path, but sometimes when you're going through it, you're like, why isn't it
Yeah.
here yet? Why isn't it here yet? Like, why
It was
isn't,
painful. It was,
yeah,
Kim, it was so painful what do you want to be when you grow up? I don't know. I don't know. Well, what are you doing? Taught religious school and I babysat and I worked in my mom's preschool and I worked in my dad's business. I was like a jack of all trades and a master of none, and no clue what I wanted to be when I grew up. And it was so, to be honest, it was confusing in my 20s because I didn't feel like I had that path and direction. And I kept asking the question, so what should I do? Well, what should I do? What do I want to be? And I didn't have an answer. And to wait until your mid 30s, like being married, having had several kids, and really having had no clarity really until 34, 35, it was frustrating because you like you're like you want to give, you want to do for the world, and but it doesn't feel right. I mean, I'm somebody who is in alignment with things that feel right and like are like meant to be and soulmates and that type of a thing. So when it feels right to me, it's very clear about what that means. It doesn't just feel right, it also means that our thinking is in alignment, and our goals and our visions and all of those things are in alignment. And to not have that professionally, where it's like, no, I just don't know. I felt very lost. Like it didn't make sense why I wouldn't know what to do. And I didn't. I really had no clarity about it. It was definitely a frustrating time. Like you said, I can look back and say, wow, I did all of these leadership training experiences. I was always connected to a lot of people. I was always naturally networking. When we moved to Israel 5 years ago, we only had like second cousins that were here, but I had so many friends that it didn't matter what city I moved to. I'd always have at least one friend in any city, and it just made life so much easier. But it didn't translate into this like position or this job or career path until so much later. And it was really it was just confusing. Like I should be doing more than this. I should be doing something different. I should know what I want to be. And I didn't know until I knew and until I grew. It came at the time that it needed to come.
Right. Yeah, yeah. I can see why it would be so frustrating, especially because you're in your own category. There's not a lot of
Right.
matchmakers in the entire world, right? And like you
There's
said,
not.
it's not like you get a degree for it anywhere.
No.
So it's instinctual and it's learned and it's all these things. But when you say, well, that's what I do, people are like, yeah, but what's your real job? I'm sure. Right. Right.
That's exactly what they said.
Yeah.
What do you really do? Like that's your hobby. And I was like, no, no, now that's my real job. Like only because of Netflix, they're like, oh, I believe you. Like, do you really? And even still they ask, like, oh, you had a show, but like, do you really still do matchmaking? I was like, yes, that's why there's a show. Because I really do matchmaking. This is like they took my real life and then they just broadcast it on TV. Like that's really what I do. And they're like, oh, for real? And I was like, yes, that wasn't a joke. It's reality TV.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it's so funny. That's so funny. Yeah, it's interesting that there are those kind of careers that you sort of have to explain to people that it's real. Like, I don't know, for whatever reason, and that you were doing it all along, but yet you didn't see it as your career, but it has to be a calling, I would think.
It is. It's
Yeah.
very interesting in this industry. There's people from all different faiths and background. There are people that work with people that are, not, they don't believe or they're not traditional in and not connected to the religion at all. And there's people that are, faith-based and connected to their religion and their community. And everybody, whether they're religious or non-religious, they all say like this is a calling. Like I felt called to do this. I feel like I must do this. When I wake up in the morning, I do want to do this, but it's not just that I want to do it, it's that I feel called to do this. I need to do this. And I'm continuously brainstorming ways of how I can help more people, how I can reach new audiences. That's how you and I met because I had never been to the conference, which was the NRB conference. And it was my first time there. And I came from networking and a connection of somebody that I met. And I did an interview with her. And then she goes, oh, well, there's this. And whatever, through conversation, I found out about this. And I was like, oh, I think I need to go there. Oh, I think I need to help more people find love. I think I need to help more communities have community-based matchmaking to support the infrastructure because I think that all across the globe, no matter what our background is, we are all struggling to keep people connected to their faith, keeping people connected to their community at a core level. And sometimes the kids, they go off to university and then they like kind of disappear into the universe and you don't see them again. And we all love the communities we come from and we all want to support each other and build the world into a better place. So I said, oh, the best way to do this is to actually help communities to have community-based matchmaking. And I had this vision of having a global matchmaking movement where you just like, if I ask you, like who's your local community leader, right? You could answer who that is. You know, in every single community, no matter what faith or background somebody's from, everybody has an answer. But if I say to you, who's your local matchmaker? People would laugh. Like, what do
Right.
you mean, Aleeza? Who's your local matchmaker? What, is that a joke? Like, are we back in the Stone Age? Like, we do matchmaker. Who does matchmaking? But it's actually a real thing. And I think that matchmakers are the glue because matches make families, and families create communities, and communities change the world. And so
Mm.
to me, we have to start at the root of that. And we have to have people that are actually focused on making matches because you identified it. There's only a few thousand matchmakers in the world, like a very small number of matchmakers in the world. And it's not something that people um, even dream of doing necessarily. And I think we have to wake people up and say, this is you could do this. This is a calling. If you feel called to do this, we need you. Your community needs you and we need to help bring people together. I think it's the greatest gift that we can do for the world.
Oh, I love it. I love it. And it's so true. I mean, post COVID, uh,
Yes.
all the AI, all the whatever, like
Right.
you could just be a
Right.
hermit and just stay home all the time if that's what you wanted to do. But community is what gives you life. Community is is everything. You need to be face to face with people. You need to be with people. And
Yes.
so we have a problem with our elderly. Like I doing this organization. We're starting this organization with these guys. I'm starting to bring community to the elderly, which probably need
Amazing.
benches, by the way. But
By the way, I have a
um,
story.
oh, yeah.
I call them the Mahjong mothers. There's this game called Mahjong, which I learned as a kid, and the two mothers who were in their 90s were sitting around playing Mahjong, and like, oh yeah, my daughter needs a match, my son needs a match. Oh, we should set them up. And they set them up, and the daughter who got set up called me. She goes, my mother set me up. Here's the story. And by the way, I watched your show and I have this phrase. It's called date 'em till you hate 'em. Now, I do believe love your neighbor as yourself. You should not hate anybody. It's just a catchphrase so that you don't dump somebody too soon. Like if it's not a no, it's just a yes for another date. Like if it's not a no, it's a go. It's like we just have to motivate people to keep going. So she goes, I had that in my mind. I said, well, I don't hate him. I could go out with him again. And she went out again and again and again. She called me back and she goes, it's been 6 months. We really like each other and we're still dating. And I just got an update. It's been 2 years and they're in their 70s because the mothers were in their 90s. They're in their 70s. And she said, your advice really helped me. And thanks to our mothers, we met.
Oh, I love that. I love that story. Yeah, yeah. Well,
So I think we should pair the elderly with the singles who are looking, and then
yeah,
everybody brainstorms about who to set each other up with. And nobody ages out of love. So you could also have the singles setting up the elderly who maybe have lost a spouse or maybe divorced or something, who are also looking like we can make matches in every direction.
yeah, I love it. I love that idea actually because there's no greater connection than a husband and wife, than partners, right? There's just no greater connection. So to have that connection, I always think that really it's the closest connection that God wants with us, like an intimate relationship with us, right?
That's
And so,
exactly it.
yeah, so the closest on earth we come to that is a partner that you're with. And so I love the idea. I don't know what the guys are going to say. We have a meeting tomorrow night. We'll see if I say,
You
hey,
just say
remember
Aliza
that
from
meeting?
Netflix said we should try this. She's willing to help and coach us, and
There
we'll
you
have a
go.
schmooze. We'll talk about
There
it.
you go. I love it. I love it. Yeah, because it's so true. I mean, and it's hard to meet somebody. It's just
It's so
reality.
hard.
My husband
It's
died how many years ago now? 17 years ago. And dating stinks. Like I was in my 40s when my husband passed away. I thought, oh,
Mm.
well, I'll find somebody. No, no, no. I, I haven't.
It's hard.
And yeah, it's hard. And I've not done such a great job of it either. Like I've stayed too long. Like you
Mm.
love them till you hate them, or whatever. I
Date and date.
date them till you hate them. Yeah, exactly. I probably, not that I hated, but yes, should have
Right.
disconnected for sure. And wish I knew you then because you could have given me lots of dating advice. But now I'm at a point where I'm like, yeah, it's okay. Single's okay. Like I'll just
Well,
stay here.
I think that there's the yes and like I'm healthy, single's okay, I've got this, and I'm open to what the world has to send to me, and I'm open to whatever God's plan is. And if somebody has somebody to introduce me to, I'm happy to evaluate it, but I'm not feeling desperate or overwhelmed or so lonely and broken that I'm looking for somebody to fix me. I can feel good about who I am and where I am and grounded in who I am and open to the possibility that somebody might come into my life at any point in time, and it could be also a gift that God sends at an unexpected moment.
Yeah, yeah, I like that. I like that. And especially because if you're healthy alone, you're going to be much healthier in a relationship. And I've had friends that have been single, my age single, and just desperately wanted somebody. And I always think you can smell desperation,
Right.
right?
And it's like, I need you because I need you to fill me up because I'm not doing a good job of taking care of myself. And
Mhm.
so I need somebody else to pull me out of it. And I really think we do need to pull ourselves out of it because even in a relationship, sometimes we might feel lonely. We might not feel so connected. And you're like, oh my gosh, I'm married and I feel this way. So we do have to learn how to pick ourselves up, and relationships go through, ups and downs and times of connection and disconnection. It's kind of like the if you imagine like two singles with that come together and it forms like the infinity sign. And then it like opens to like the oneness of who we are. But then sometimes it goes back to like me and you. And then us, like there's this waxing and waning between the me and the we that we go through the course of our entire lifetime. So really being able to be comfortable in our own skin with who we are, with where we are, making peace with it, and having an open option, having a hopeful, the possibility of the right person at the right time, I think is a really healthy balance. And if somebody wants to look and search and activate their network, they can do that. And if they want to do what I call passive dating, which is just open to whatever comes your way, but you're not necessarily seeking it. And so it might come, at a slower pace, but just reviewing what comes your way as opposed to like being negative or pushing it away or saying, no, I don't want this. There's always the possibility that somebody could come into your life.
Yeah, I love that you said that because it's true. That is so true. Like if Mr. Perfect walked in the door, I should be aware, I guess, or
Right,
whatever.
but
Be
you have
open.
the option to say yes. You could also say no.
Right, right. Either way. Yeah. So, but it's so true. And so we have all these dating apps, but the statistics with dating apps, couples actually staying together, getting together, is very low. It's not like the dating apps are really working.
The dating apps are similar to matchmaking in general, which is it turns you into your own matchmaker and it gives you a database of people. But the success of any relationship is the same success as anywhere, right? Like how much skills do I have and how many skills does my partner have? And together, do we have complementary sets of skills in order to face the challenges that we have? Like I like that a couple has a challenge and they fall. And then I like that they know how to pick themselves up, kind of like a kid who's learning to ride a bike and they fall. And you're like, that's okay. Come on, we're getting up. We're going again. And you go again. And they like can't get it. And they go again. And they go again. And they go. And then they start to learn and they ride and they get in a groove. The same thing happens in a relationship where if we never fall and we have a perfect relationship, when we do fall, we aren't going to know what to do. We will have never tried falling. We will have never practiced having resilience and the strength and the wisdom to learn how to pick ourselves up, how to carry ourselves through something. So I think it's really important that couples know that that's totally normal and it's we talk about like the perfect person. I would say there's like Mr. or Mrs. Right or Mr. or Mrs. Right now. So
Mm.
they're going to be perfectly imperfect for you and don't just go for Mr. Right now or Mrs. Right now. Let's go for Mr. Right. Like the one that's the right one for you, that is perfectly imperfect, that has what you need, and the things that they have that you don't love, you can figure out how to live with and how to manage and work through it and become not okay with it, but to accept who they are and to know, like, okay, I got the good and I got the other. The other stuff is not the stuff I ordered, but it comes free with all of the good. And that's
It's a
okay.
package.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I got
right,
this.
right, right. Yeah, it's so funny that you say that. I lived this year searching for the true meaning of love. And I was in Haiti most of the time I was working on it. And what I discovered about love just blew my mind. Like what we're taught about love, so much of it is just wrong. And I love the way you talk about the fact that, yeah, it's not going to always just be roses and unicorns and cotton candy or whatever, that you're going to have those moments that are tense. But I also think I love the way I love the words that you use when you talk about things that are they deal breakers or are they things that you can live with? And I love the way you talk about that because I always think, somebody's so excited to get married, right? Like they found their person, can't wait to walk down the aisle, want to run down the aisle. They go on a great honeymoon, they come home and he leaves his dirty underwear on the bedroom floor and you're like, who is this Neanderthal that I just married, right? And you think, oh, this is so bad. Did I make a bad decision? You start questioning everything that you've done. And the reality is, he's the guy you married. This is just something he did. And
Right.
to separate the something he did from the person, this is what he's used to doing.
Yeah.
Nobody ever told him put it in the hamper. That's just this is something he's used to doing. So those are the things though that can mess up a relationship. The little things that people get annoyed with, that are they really that annoying? Like Are they things you can live with? But I talk about that because I love the way you talk about it.
So I break things down into three categories, and this is kind of what I would call soulmate clarity. How do you know if this is the one or if you should be done? And when you're in the dating phase, the things that we want to align are the qualities that somebody has, the values that you're seeking in a partner, the personality, that it's in alignment with who you are. And that's like to a high degree, there's compatibility there. And for some people, when they find that compatibility, they're like, oh, amazing, I found my person. And I'm like, wait, not so fast. Now we have to move on to the second category, which I call fears. And fears have nothing to do with you. Fears have everything to do with me, my past, whatever I've been through. If family members have been divorced, I might fear divorce. If somebody has passed away, I might fear loss or abandonment. If there have been any stressful things from childhood, I might have some sort of a trauma that I grew up with that somehow it carries into a relationship. And what we want to know is that whatever I have, whatever these relationship fears that I come in with, my partner does not trigger them to a high degree. Somebody might trigger them here or there from time to time, but if they're triggering them consistently to a high degree, even if all of the values, the qualities, and everything's aligned, and you're like, oh my gosh, my perfect person. I'm like, not so fast because they trigger you like 70% of the time. And you love what you love, but you don't love all this other stuff. It's really not working for you. And you're really frustrated and in pain a lot of the times. And they're not trying to do this to you. This is like an incompatibility with what you're coming in with and with who they are and how this friction is between you. So we're measuring the qualities against the fears and seeing that there's a balance, a high level of the qualities and a low level of the fears that are triggered. And then what you talked about are the bothers. That's all those things specifically about you that bother me. And I don't like when you pick your teeth like that. And I don't like I don't know, I don't like the way that you greet people and talk to them when you walk into the room or that you don't greet them and that you ignore them and whatever it is. There's things about people that bother us, whether it's physical or social or emotional or intellectual. There's just things about you that I don't like. And that category also, like there's a degree of things that I don't like, and that's the other, and it comes with the package, but it can't be to a high degree. Because if it's to a high degree and I am constantly irritated by this, that means that I haven't accepted the person in front of me. And I don't accept that you are who you are and that this is a part of the package. But when I come to accept it, it's no longer a potential deal breaker or an actual deal breaker. It's just accepted. It's not liked. You never have to like it. You never in your life have to say, I love this trait about you. You're allowed to say this bothers me and acknowledge it to yourself. We're not pretending like it doesn't exist. But as we acknowledge that, we say, and I accept this comes with the package, right? I've got the good, those things are aligned, and this is the other. Let me figure out how to manage it and handle it because I'm not going to try to change you for a lifetime. I'm going to try to adapt and change me to the circumstances that I'm choosing to be in without trying to make you crazy for just living and being who you are. Now, with the example of like socks on the floor or whatever it is, certain things here and there, yes, we have to teach the men how to put the toilet seats down so that we don't fall in the middle of the night. And yes, please to put your laundry in the hamper. But there are certain things that are inherent to who a person is that you're just not going to change. It might be a part of their personality. It might be a part of just everything that they've been and you're like, oh, not my favorite trait, but like, okay, I could deal with that. So like, I mean, if they're not the best dresser and you want to buy them a new shirt here or there or do something, you could try. And then also at a certain point, just accept if they don't want help that this is who they are. Otherwise, don't marry them, right? So we don't want to create the stress and the drama in our life. If we can accept certain things and know that the qualities and the values and the beliefs, these things are really in alignment. And the other stuff, like 70% of the time I'm good. 30% of the time I'm a little bothered by you. Okay, I'm human. I'm not an angel. Yes, that's a normal percentage. 70% is great. If it's under 70% of the time that I'm feeling aligned with you and things are really good, then we have a little bit of a problem because it can't be 50-50. I can't 50% of the time be like, whatever, I'll figure it out. And 50% of the time I'm okay. It's not enough for us to feel satisfied because we're feeling more irritated than we are feeling good. I need it to be at least 70% okay. and 30% at minimum, 70-30 that you're kind of bothered. It could be 75-25, it could be 80-20. We don't mind if it's higher on the side of good, but at least 70-30.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. I mean, that really does make sense because you're not going to like everything about somebody.
Right.
Not, you're just not. And if you've got the list and these are your things that you stand behind and you're not going to have somebody who doesn't have these particular qualities, that's the important list, right? That's the important thing. And the other stuff, I don't know,
I
you do
mean,
learn to live with it or you learn that it's not such a big deal, right?
sometimes you have to walk away. It could be that it is, I don't want to minimize, like the most confusing cases that I deal with are when somebody has the values really aligned and they're like, oh my gosh, I've never been so in alignment. And there's some friction or rub between their fears or what bothers them about the other person that is really high and constant, like it's happening on a weekly basis. And for them, it's so confusing because they are so triggered and they are so deeply satisfied simultaneously. And and if they haven't been able to work through it in the last couple of months, then I don't usually have high hopes that you're going to magically figure it out and then be able to do it for a lifetime. You might have to live triggered like that all the time. And I think that there are sometimes, and it's very painful, but there are relationships that we have to walk away from because I am not accepting who they are and the reality of who they are. And that is causing me to not be able to manage life with them in a more graceful way. So we need the belief, we need those things to be in alignment, the good to be in alignment, but the other side has to be manageable. And it's hard. It's
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, but it makes so much sense. I mean, it's so true. Like it's because it's your life. It's 24/7. It's every day. And so how do you want to feel every day? Like what is it going to mean for you? So I've known women who think that they can change somebody. Like, yeah, these things bother me, but I can get him to change. Or yeah, he's doing this, but I can get him to change, whatever. What do you say to that?
I say you can change somebody yourself. That's the only person that you can really change. Now, if the other person shifts and grows and they get better over time, good for you. You're so lucky. But over time, usually we go from where we are and then we like struggle a little bit. And so it might get more intense over time, but it should be that our ability to handle it increases as the challenges arise. And so that balances it out. But I would never, never with a capital N, never go into a relationship going, I could fix this. They're going to change. I would look at a situation and say, I could fix this. I could accept who they are. But if I can't, then I have to walk away. But
Mm,
really, the only person that I could ever truly change is me. It's
yeah.
it's actually a really hard pill to swallow. Because I think a lot, and it's not just women, by the way. There are men that also, the way that they describe it is, I want somebody who I can rescue. I want to be a hero. And so,
Oh,
in order for me to be a hero, I need to find somebody who's in distress that I can just pick up and go, it's okay, I got you. We got this. And it's often a very unhealthy dynamic because you have one person taking care of two people, themselves and the other person. And you have the other side taking care of nobody. And
mm,
when that is in such an imbalance, it's really a great challenge to healthfully and successfully navigate a relationship for a lifetime. So I like both parties to come to the table knowing that they can take care of themselves, they can support the other person, they should be their cheerleader and we if we are both growth minded, then we can help elevate each other and bring each other up. But I'm not here to rescue you and pull you out. You've got to do like you've got to reach up and grab to pull yourself out, and I'll help you along too. But I think that that's a more healthy dynamic.
yeah, yeah. Oh gosh, I can totally see that. And I love that you brought that up because that is a thing. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a for real thing. I can tell you, dating at my age, that's a thing where I feel like men don't want a strong, capable woman. Like there's an intimidation that happens somehow, or I don't know.
They don't want you to have so much independence because they want to come in and they want to be the one to be there for you. We have a little bit of an imbalance in the modern world, and this is a challenge I think that we all face, which is that we need to count on each other, but we were everybody was raised to be independent. So modern day is grow up, go to university, get a job, earn a living, get a career, buy a car, get a house. Oh, wait. Oh, let's get our person in there. Oh, yeah. Get a person, build a family. But actually, we aren't trained to be family minded. We are trained to be independent. And independence, we even look at, independent living for senior living, right? Having a community living is not as ideal as, quote, living independently. But living independently might mean living alone for 20 years when you could live with a communal type living space. So, somewhere along the timeline of the world, we stopped focusing on community, we stopped focusing on family, and the world started to promote independence and me. It's a very me-centered world. Like the only person in the world I have to take care of is me. Everybody, you do you, I do me. It's fine. You worry about you, I'll just take care of me. And I think that that's very opposite to the type of community and family life, and the vision that I have for the world, which is that we grow up within a family unit. We have community that supports us. We say it takes a village to raise someone, right? It takes everyone, it takes all of our efforts to do that. And then we go on not to be independent, to do the same thing, to find our family, to build our community, to be the village, to take care of someone so that they can go on and do the same thing. But that nowhere in there does it say independence. Nowhere in it does it say, I'll take care of me and you take care of you and everything will be fine. It's not our modern mindset. And I think we need a little bit of a reset modern day in order to bring back community and bring back this, like I'm feeling it, like this wholesome, where I feel supported and loved, where I have a place to give and I can receive from somebody else, and in a healthy way, not in a negative way, not in a codependent way, like interdependent, where we function better because we're together. Not that I need you or you need me. Of course, organically we do, but because it's healthier that way. And that's not yet the modern mindset. I'm hoping, please God, this will just shine a ray of sunshine into the world. It'll be like, yes, this is what we need. And the world will start to shift for the greatest good and move in that direction. But I'm not seeing that yet. And I think that that's something that's missing from the world today.
Oh my gosh, I think you hit the nail on the head. I think that that is so true. And I think, like, I grew up in the 70s, right? And it was women's lib and burning bras and whatever. And you're a woman,
Right.
you were strong and independent, right? You don't need a man, you're just independent. I got married when I was 18. So apparently I didn't buy into all of it. But
By the way, I think that's the best thing to do is get married young. I tell my kids under 25, get married. If you're not yet over
yeah,
25, and every time you hit the next age if you're over 25, 30, by 30 get married. If you're over 30, by 35 get married. You have until the next 5 years.
yeah. Oh, that's
But I
funny.
love it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I feel like we grew up together and
Exactly.
it was a different
Exactly.
bond. Yeah, yeah. So you don't gain as much independence that you have to do things alone or whatever. And I never was into the I need my alone time. And I know some people need that and good for you, but I just never did. And we could just hang out all the time and I was happy with it. But we there was this thing kind of drilled into us as women that this independent thing, like you want to stand on your own, be independent. And men are different than women and think different than women. And if you go into it, I would imagine, I mean, you're the expert, so tell me, but for women that go into it, just all, I'm tough and I'm strong and, I don't really need you. We'll see if I want you. That's not the kind of energy you want to be giving off.
So that's exactly the modern energy, what you just described. And the men have basically said, we feel that, and we know that we're not needed, nor are we wanted. And only if you should desire me, then things will be good. But if not, then there's nothing there. Modern day women, we can do everything except be married without a man. Right? Like we don't have to have a husband to have a child, right? We could still do that in modern medicine ways, and we have the ability to literally live our whole lives and just not have men in the picture unless we actually have a desire to be married and build a family. And so I think it really is up to the women to kind of take back the family unit and to say, this is what we want. And yes, we can also have a career and do things. And yes, we'll figure out the family unit, but finding my partner and building a life together, that is a part of my dream. And it's not a part of everybody's dream today, right? It used to be a part of everybody's dream. It was just the way of the world. You needed it, whether it was because you needed a place to sleep or something to eat or somebody to take care of you. We needed that. But modern day, we don't actually need that. And I think there is something that we have lost in our connection to each other by pushing away what I think is natural to humans in the world. Like we're meant to be bonded together, right? We're meant to be brought together. We're brought into this world together, and please God, there are people by our side. When we go out of this world, we should go out together and we should live an intertwined life with our partners when they come in or out of our lives and with our communities. And to me, that's the healthiest way for it to be. Please God, the world should shift for the greatest good and move in that direction because I feel like we are desperate for that modern day. I feel like we are just so yearning to have a world that feels less lonely and that feels um, more bonded. And like you said, like AI and technology and modern day things, you could live alone. You feel like you're living in the world, but you're literally only in your house with nobody else around you. And it is very lonely. And then when you go out there, you're like, oh, look, there's people out there. Like, oh, there's somebody for me to talk to. Like, oh, I kind of forgot, you know?
Yeah.
I think it was my husband's grandmother said, like, you stay at home, you think everybody stays at home. You go out, everybody's out. You don't realize that there's this whole world that's actually happening around you. And sometimes we've just been opting out of it, and it's not the healthiest thing for us or the best thing for us. And it's hard. It's hard to shift what's happening in our communities and around us to say, I want something different than this independence. I want to find community, friends, a life partner. I want to be interconnected in a deeply meaningful way. And how can I do that? What do I have to do to build that in my life? It's hard.
Yeah, that's interesting. I feel like we've leaned away from the feminine. Like we've wanted to be more masculine for whatever reason. Like it
Yeah.
says we're stronger somehow or whatever. Well, you're not stronger. And it's really okay to be feminine. I
Right.
mean, there's
Right.
something
Permission to be
special.
feminine.
Yes, you have
Permission to
permission
be
to be
feminine.
feminine. Absolutely. And there's something special about that. Wear some pink. I mean, whatever that means to you. But
By the way, I normally wear pink. It's funny. That's like now
yeah,
it's my
yeah.
signature color, but I have my pink tree in the
Oh,
background, so it's enough pink.
yeah. Yeah, but maybe that's part of it is that we just need to lean back into the feminine.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
like that. I'm gonna like sit with that and I feel like there's like an article or a book or something that needs to be written about that. I think it's really really an important topic. And it's a part of who we are. Like you can't throw off the essence of who we are. We have to reclaim that. If not, who's taking that? That energy has to exist in the world. There are a lot of women also that have said that men have a more feminine energy modern day and women have a more masculine energy modern day. And the women are like, yeah, but I don't like the men who are like that. I said, and they don't like you like this. So you just have to create the opposite shift to go back so we can have feminine women and masculine men and have the energies draw to each other. But if we're taking over their energy, then there has to be balance in the world and they end up taking over our energy. So yeah,
Yeah, that's so interesting. Yeah. 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 Time to make a change. Time to change the world.
permission to be feminine. I like the way you said
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so good. But yeah. So but I think it's the things that we're taught, the things that we're shown, the things that are whatever. But when it comes to being with somebody, there's, you talked about the fear and the bother and the list of non-negotiables, basically. But there's also a skill to the dating, right? Like, I don't know, like people go on a first date and it's like, yeah, it's so I don't really want to see him again. It was just kind of okay. Well, I've known people who have given a second date and the second date was great. And they
Right.
never would have been with that person had they not given them a second chance. And so I want to hear about your dating skills because I personally need them. But there's probably other people listening that need them. And I love your 5 date rule too. So I'd love for you to talk about that.
Okay. So, a few dating skills. One is to be curious. There's a rabbi that I work with. He's known as the love rabbi, and he always says curiosity, curiosity, curiosity. Be curious. Don't assume that you know something about somebody. And even if you think you know, ask them, bring up a question, dig a little bit deeper, and just stay curious. If I look at you and I'm like, oh, I know everything about you. Like, oh, I see your face, I see how you dress, what you said from the three sentences that you said, like, oh, I know your type. I checked out already. I literally sized you up in 1 minute. I think I know who you are. And then I've lost all sense of curiosity. So I want to bring curiosity back into the conversation. And I want to have people asking questions. Not what do you do, but what do you love about what you do? Ah, now that
Mm.
really tells me something. What you do, it's a piece of information. What you love about what you do, that's a piece of your heart. That's a piece of your history. That really helps me to dig in and understand. Maybe you don't love what you do. Maybe you're going to tell me, actually, I don't love what I do. And I'm going to say, oh my gosh, what do you want to do? And then you're going to tell me about some crazy dream that you have. And now I really feel like I know you, right? Or maybe you're going to tell me, I absolutely love what I do. And I went into, I don't know, the medical field because somebody in my family was really sick and I felt so helpless. And now I never want to have that feeling again. And that's why I'm doing it. Oh my gosh. Wow, what I learned, not because I asked what you do, because I asked what you love about what you do. It's such helpful information, and it's because I'm curious, because I want to know about you, because I want to pull out those questions. The other thing is something that you said, which is also a part of this 5 date rule, which is like if it's not a no, it's a go for another date, right? If you're unsure if it's like a maybe, it's just a yes for another date. You need, when in doubt, go out. That's the short phrase also. And I recommend mentally when you go out on a first date to have in mind, I'm dating with intention. I'm going to give them 5 dates before I make my final call. Like, is this your final answer? No, 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 not after a first date. Don't give me your final answer. Is this your final answer? No, no, no. After a second date, don't give me your final answer, right? Let's go out 5 times. Now, you might not get to a fifth time because you might really have a final answer by a third date and you're like, Aleeza, I can't do this. But if you're somewhere in between, then I'm always saying yes for another date because eventually it'll either be yes and it'll turn and you'll be like, wow, I can't believe it. Had I not stuck around, I would have never known this. Or eventually it will be no and you'll say no or they'll say no. And like I don't care who breaks up, like hold your ego aside, like put it over there in the drawer and leave it for a minute. I care who stays in the ring the longest. I care who focuses on drawing each other out and trying to make the greatest effort because like you said, you just never know what's going to happen. So the challenge is to go on 5 dates for no more than 5 hours and no more than 5 days between the dates. And the last 5 is a really big challenge that people think I'm crazy, but I'm not. And I think it doesn't matter your age or your stage. This is like guaranteed clarity. No touching for 5 dates. And here's the reason why. This is my funny way of saying it. Touch hearts before other parts. So if you really want to know if you like them, and even more so if you want to know if they like you with no guessing and no games, if there's no touching, the only reason you're going out with me is because you like my thinking and you like my heart and you like who I am because you're getting nothing else from me. And nobody's going to stick around for 5 dates unless they actually value who you are. So, on a sixth date, if a couple gets to that and follows the no touching rule, nobody needs therapy, nobody needs a matchmaker, nobody needs a dating coach. I know both sides have interest because you're not basing it on anything physical. You're actually basing it on something real, something inside, something that's actually worth true value. And then the physical, whatever, comes later. We can deal with that later. Most people say, Aleeza, flip the script. Like, I used to have a rule in college when I was much younger that was like, just kiss them. If you don't like kissing them, don't even bother having a conversation. That was my theory, right? Not even worth it. Ridiculous, ridiculous. But it's what it was. And I quickly learned that it doesn't matter because if you enjoy the physicality with them, but you don't enjoy the inside, then the physicality is irrelevant. So it's not what we should evaluate first. We should evaluate that last and only if it's relevant and necessary. And then you don't really have to kiss a lot of frogs to find the right one. You just have to date a lot of frogs and not kiss them to find out if they're the right one. And so that's the way that I like to work through the dating and to try to help people to have clarity with greater ease. And the one thing I will tell you, when I tell people about the no touching for 5 date rule, women fight me on this more than men. Men are usually like, yeah, that's smart because I wouldn't stick around if I don't like her. I said, then why would you try to do something with her before 5 dates? And they say, well, I mean, they look at me like, because I'm a man. And I'm like, aha, see? So I'm pleading with all the women of the world. If he really likes you, numerous men, like in the double digits of men, have said to me, Aleeza, 5 dates, I do 10 dates, I do 15, I do 20. It's irrelevant. If I like her, I'm sticking around and the physical will come when it comes because I actually like her. So, for anybody who doesn't believe this and thinks this is a wild, wacky idea, I have tried this with all ages and all stages and all backgrounds all across the globe. It is the number one tool for clarity. And you don't like literally, you don't have to pay anybody anything to figure this out. You just have to have enough self-control and don't be in a private room with them, be in public spaces and just hold back. And you'll thank me because it builds the chemistry between a couple. And you can only get that if there's a little bit of like sexual tension that exists until there's like a little bit of a buildup. So thank me later, but everybody should try that if they want clarity.
I think it's genius, honestly. I think it's so wise because if you both go in knowing that, then there's no pressure,
Right,
right? Then you
right.
know you're just going to be talking, you're going to be doing golfing, I don't know, whatever it is you're doing on your date, right? But you're going to
Right.
be connecting and there's no pressure to, gosh, I wonder if he's going to make a move or whatever. That pressure is off the table.
Exactly. That pressure's gone.
Yeah, it's just gone. And so I think it's good. Just be right up front with somebody and say, hey, just so you know, I mean,
Yeah,
don't try
just say,
anything.
I'm doing the 5 date challenge,
Yep,
Aleeza, the Jewish Matchmaker from Netflix. She talks about it. She says it really works. You up for this? And if he says no or she says no, then you know what they're in the relationship for, not you, just your
right.
body, not you, your body, mind, and soul.
Exactly, exactly. Well, and I think being intimate too early screws up a relationship,
Also,
right? So it could
yes.
have been a good relationship, but
Yeah,
you were intimate too soon and it can just blow it.
it's so true. So,
Yeah,
so true.
yeah, yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, you're amazing. You're amazing. And
Thank
and
you.
I know it's a calling. Is it in your family anywhere? Are there other
You know,
matchmakers?
there's not. There are other matchmaker friends that I have that have had this, and they're like second generation, third generation matchmaker, and it's a whole thing. But it's been for me since I was young, and I also make business matches. I feel like I'm also like a real estate agent, like homes and people and people and people and jobs and people, anything that puts, two things together. It's just the way that my brain is wired, and I'm always looking for the things that are in alignment and where things are just a match. Like it bothered. I'm going to tell you a funny story. I travel a lot now for work. I do a lot of speaking engagements. I've traveled all across the globe, which has been the biggest blessing. And I have luggage, and my large suitcase broke on one of my trips, and had to buy a new suitcase, but it did not match my small suitcase. It was different. And I was so irritated walking around with two different suitcases that didn't match. And I was like, Aleeza, get over it. It's so ridiculous. What do you care? It matches, it doesn't match. It carries your stuff. It's functional. It's good. And I was like, no, I'm literally a matchmaker. Like things matching make sense to my brain and they make me happy. And having non-matching luggage is really irritating to my eyes and really irritating to my brain.
Well,
So
they
anyway,
shouldn't be going
yeah,
out together because they don't
yeah,
match.
it,
Yeah.
it doesn't make sense. So now I just had to buy a matching. Yeah, I just bought a new suitcase.
Oh, that's so funny. Yeah. So it's just in you. So it's just what you
Just
do,
in
what you
me.
got to do. I love it.
Yeah, it's like that connector, bringing people together, seeing the greatest good in people, understanding. I also have a very strong intuition. And I think there are some matchmakers that operate strictly on intuition. Some operate more from like an intellectual brain matching perspective. And I really operate from both, but my intuition is extremely high. And I made a match once and I called the guy and I said, listen, here's somebody and I want you to go out with her. And he said, why? I said, good. That's what the question you should be asking. I said, well, it's very hard for me to explain, but she's like you, only a woman. And he's like, what do you mean? I said, well, like your stories match who you are aligns. He's like, I don't get it. And I was like, would you please consider going out with her? I met you. I met her. I'm just telling you, she's the female version of you. I can't explain it any better than that. She called and asked the same question. Why? I told her the same story. They agreed to go out. They come back from the date and they're like, wow. And things that I didn't even know about them that aligned. Like we were both swimming instructors when we were in our teens. They had both lost their fathers when they were in their early 20s. They had like all across their line, not just their values and who they are and where they were heading, but even their history, things that I didn't know were actually very aligned. And they're like, this is like eerie how aligned we are. And they're married and they have a couple kids and they're just a beautiful, beautiful couple. So
Oh,
intuition is something that's so strong within me when I see things. It's like, oh, this is good. And then I have to learn how to put the words to it about why it's good because sometimes it just in my brain it just matches. It just makes sense.
yeah. Yeah. I love it. That's a great intuition to have. And it's great that you can tap into it and that you know that it's there. And that's why you do what you do. So and that's why you're so good at what you do. So it's so good. This has been so fun. It's so fun to talk to you. Everything you do is fun. I have to say that's part of why I love you is your show is fun. Your book is
I love
fun. You know,
it.
it's all fun, which it should be.
Yeah,
Life should be fun. You know, sometimes we take life too seriously and it gets serious when you have to, but have some fun along the way, right?
I
So
agree.
yeah, I love it, love it, love it. How can people find you, reach out to you? I can't believe our time is over. I feel like we just started talking, but how can they find you and watch a show, all of that?
Okay, so on Netflix, you can go to Jewish Matchmaking. Just look it up. It's there in like 37 different languages. If you want to find me on social media, it's at Aleeza Ben Shalom on Instagram or any other on Facebook, on LinkedIn. Just my name is AleezaBenShalom. And you can just do that, AleezaBenShalom.com, and you'll find my website. I would love to connect with you. I would love to help you. And either I'm the right matchmaker for you, or if I'm not, I could be the right coach for you or somebody on my team. Or if we're not, we'll match you with the right matchmakers because we're like the matchmaker of the matchmakers. And making the perfect match is really important to us. And having the right person to be by your side through this process is what we love to do.
Yeah, awesome, awesome, awesome. And your book is so good and it's available on Amazon, it's available everywhere. And so buy the
Matchmaker,
book.
matchmaker.
Maker Matchmaker, Fiddler on the Roof. Gotta love it. So, but buy one, buy Elisa's book and send it to somebody. You know somebody who this would be a great book for. They'd really enjoy it. Send it to somebody. Send it to a friend. Send it to a couple of friends. It's so easy. You just put their address in and away it goes. You don't have to go to the post office. Just send it, and they'll be so happy that you did because it really is a great book and great show. Tune in, watch the show and everything you do. I just love. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you for all the wisdom that you dropped and everything that you do. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kim.
Yeah. And thank you so much for joining us today. If you know somebody that this episode would be good for, please pass it on. I can think of a couple of people that I need to call and say, you need to watch Aleeza on the show because this was so good. So pass it on if you know anybody. And I just want to say, until we see each other again, I just pray that you keep your heart open and you live your love loud.